You can hear me all right? Can you hear me?
Yes, Marge,
Yes,
we're hearing
Marge,
you
we're hearing
very
you.
Okay.
clearly.
All right. Thank you. All right, Prue. Thank you so much. So this week we have a host of spiritual celebrities that we can honor, and well, of course Nityananda's appearance is around the corner. We have Varaha. We have tomorrow's Bhishma Dev, and today it's Advaita-Acarya. And let's say a little something about that. I don't have a verse here that I'm speaking from, and I'm, as you know, I'm a little bit late, but I will try to say something that's meaningful to you all. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say we miss being with you all very much. I'm usually there around this time of the year, and enjoying kirtan with you, Prabhu's giving classes, eating dal puri, and going to the beach. Hare Krishna. Well, that's what's happening right now. And thank you very much. I see some devotees here who are following, but it would really be nice if they could turn on their cameras if it's possible. I know sometimes devotees don't put it on because they've still got their pajamas on. But if you're looking good and you're spiritual, it'd be nice to see you, because what I see is a bunch of ghosts on my screen. You know, so if we could change that a little bit, that would just absolutely be wonderful. Yeah, let's see your beautiful lotus-like forms. That's my humble request. That's my payment that I want for giving this class. You don't have to sending me any Lakshmi, no dollars or anything like that, no rupees or anything. Just let me see you and I'm a happy chappy. Oh, yes, it actually works. Premananda Hare Krishna. Sorry, very good. Let's see if any other people heard what I was saying. Okay, so now let us look at the situation culturally. Most of you come from a Hindu background, and so you're familiar with all the avatars, the Das avatars. Most prominent is people like Ram and Buddha, and well, Krishna's not in there. I think they're his avatars, the Das avatars. But we do, yeah, we do have Balaram, Parashuram. We also have a few animal avatars. We have Matsya, which is the fish. We have Kurma, the tortoise. We have a lion in there. Wow, that's amazing. And so we get quite familiarized with these person. I think your ancestors, many of them are from Bihar. So that's the eastern part. I don't think there's too many southern people that are part of your ancestry that came to the South America and the Caribbean. So you're familiar with Ram. They know Ram, they know Krishna, they know Shiva. I think those are the prominent deities, perhaps Durga as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? So then when you come to a Hare Krishna temple, you come to see Radha Krishna, like Radha Gopinath. And then you see, pictures, maybe even deities of other entities, and sometimes Gaurnitai, and people think, oh, is that Sita Ram? When people come, they don't know. Is that Sita Ram going like this? And no, it's not. That's not Sita Ram. That's Chaitanya and Nityananda. So who is Chaitanya? So people get now acquainted, become educated about the different aspects of the divine. So, like, I was raised Catholic, so we heard about God is two in one or three in one. We heard about God the Father, the Heavenly Father up there in the sky. We heard about God the Son, which is Jesus. We also heard about God the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. So we have those notions as well. But in terms of the theology, especially the Catholic theology, they have this concept of God in three, one but three, unity and diversity, achincha beta beta tattva, right? So do we have something like that in our tradition? Well, when it comes to three, yes. We have Vishnu in different formats. Vishnu is lying on the great causal ocean, the biggest ocean you could imagine, and he's lying there just relaxing. If you can relax on water, it's very therapeutic, and he's having it all the time. He's enjoying his yoga nidra, which is the mystic slumber. And then he, like Prabhupada uses the word expands, or he extends himself to be another Vishnu manifestation, and that is called Garbhadakshay Vishnu. And from his garbha, from his stomach, comes Brahma. He's the first created being. A little something comes, a flower comes out of the navel of Vishnu, and peeking out from the lotus is is Brahma himself, wondering what's going on in the world. And so it is from the garbha, the belly of Vishnu, that the world is created. That's the only male that I know, unless if technology has changed things around, who is able to give birth, who impregnates himself and is able, he does the male and the female job all in one shot, you know. And I heard, I don't see, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, did I say it right? He's that bodybuilder and actor and governor of California for a while. Um, he also became pregnant once, even though he's a guy, and something happened, maybe a baby came. I just got the basics of that. And it's just not regular. But God, we understand from the Gita, is both mother and father. So God can do that. The final extension of Vishnu is the Kshirodakshay Vishnu, going from very big size to medium size to small. And those are three in one. Then we learn in the Bhagavatam about four in one. For instance, you have the Kumaras. They're actually established as avatars from the Lord. They're in that category of being avatars. And so there's four of them. And they're very evolved spiritually. And there's many beautiful stories written and spoken about them. So that's four in one. And we also have, in our tradition, two in one, Radha and Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. That is God the male, God the supreme female. So you have divine father, divine mother, Radha and Krishna. People love that. Feminists love it too. Oh, you've got a God who is female. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I think I might join this movement. Of course, if they join this movement, they see that it's sometimes ladies aren't treated with the respect that they deserve. Then they get a little discouraged and said, "Oh, I don't want this." So that does happen. And then there's also Gora and Nitai, which is um, Krishna and Radha, or you could say, or Krishna and Balaram incarnate for this particular day and age. And those are the mortals that people kind of get confused with. Of course, ultimately, God is one without a second. Krishna says in the Gita, everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So that is one in one. So there's two in one, three in one, four in one. Does it keep going? Oh, yes, it does. And there is this pancha tattva. Pancha means five. When I did my long walks across Canada, the US, and also Trinidad, by the way, I just got off the airport. And from the airport, I started walking. It's the only one of the few countries where you can do that. Just walk right out of the building and go on the road all the way to Londonville. And that's what I did some years ago. So when I see a car coming my way, you're supposed to walk against the traffic. So you see somebody coming, and you just want to make a connection with them. First of all, you're dressed in these traditional sannyas robes, so that gets people's attention a little bit. And I remember when I was walking along the way, I met, I saw some stalls along the road where they were selling doubles. And so I realized, oh, doubles. Oh, what are they? Someone told me about them. I also met a man. He's went, Jesus. He's just screaming the top of his lungs. As soon as he saw me, he said Jesus. Before he saw me, he didn't say Jesus. So I don't know if he was trying to say that I'm Jesus. And I would have clarified that I'm not Jesus. But he just kept yelling and screaming. So I couldn't say anything to him. And I just wished him well. So, anyways, while I was walking on the main road to Londonville, I have these sign languages. I like to go like this to see right on. Yeah, God is one, and then sometimes God is two. Radha Krishna, peace sign. Okay, like that, and then if it's Panchatattva, I'll just go like this is my Panchatattva routine. I go, hi, how's it going? Or like this. You punch, what do they call the punch air bumps? I don't know what they call it. I do it all the time with the young guys to break the ice with them. So you've got these different multiple manifestations of the Lord. And now, so for Kali Yuga, and this is where people who come new to ISKCON, they see, oh, they got so many images there, and there's no problem for people that come from a Vedic line to accept that their God has many forms. I'm going to switch my little stand around, and we have across the room here the base is the bed that Prabhupada slept on, and we have in brass image Das Avatar. So that's 10 and 1, right? 10 and 1. So now people are seeing pictures. In some cases, some temples have 5 in 1, Panchatattva. And of course, there's Chaitanya. He's prominent. Nityananda is prominent. And then we have the third person that's categorically mentioned. His name's Advaita-Acarya. And he's to be an incarnation of Sadashiva, Vishnu. And he has come as a benevolent manifestation of God. In fact, he's the person with the beard, but that's actually a point of controversy. Many pundits and kavis, they say he didn't really have a beard. Maybe at one time he did, because it's easy for guys to grow a beard. Premananda Brew, did you ever have a beard before? You never grew one? Okay, so some of you may have done it before you joined the movement. I did. It doesn't take long. It takes no time at all. So maybe Advaita-Acharya had a beard at one time observing Chaturmasya. That's, a speculation. But apparently he didn't have a beard. He had a shaven face like everybody else. That was what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually favored. And so Advaita-Acharya is credited for bringing Mahaprabhu to the world while Krishna was contemplating, what is it about me that Radha likes so much? Why is she so attracted to me? Like, I can sort of relate to that. If you're a young man and you want to attract the ladies, and ladies want to attract the men, right? And that's very obvious. It goes on, and sometimes ladies attract ladies, men attract men, and that goes on too, as well. That's a feature of life, a reality situation. But sometimes the guys look in the mirror and says, "What is it about the girls that they like about me? Is it my sort of baby face? Is it my hair, my curly? Is it my muscles? Is it my stature, my size? Uh, is it my voice?" So, anyways, from the mirror you can see some things that might attract people. So Krishna was in that kind of contemplation. What is it about Radha that she likes about me so much? I'm trying to figure it out. I don't really quite get it. I don't totally understand it. But that was the mindset of Krishna. And while he was thinking along those lines, a few things were pulling him, into another direction. And one of them was Advaita-Acarya, who happened to be raised in the Mayapur area, what we call Shantipur. He was worshiping the Ganga, and he was a grahastha, and he was a Brahmin, and he had lots of students. And he was kind of like looking at the world and saying everything's falling apart. Morally, everything's breaking down. So I don't know of one person who could really come and try to bring about a revolution like the Beatles. Do any of you know the Beatles song? Say you want a revolution. Oh yeah. No, da 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 da. I see some people laughing. Maybe it's because they like my singing, or maybe they just remember the song. So we have Gerard. Do you remember? Do you know the song? Say you want a revolution. I mean, it's way before your time. Now, when we finish the talk, you'll check it out on the internet. Revolution by the Beatles, okay? And then you'll rock with it probably. All right. So, anyways, revolution. Revolution was required. Advaita-Acharya figured out we have to change things. It's not going in a good direction, and we have to adjust. Their piety is waning. It's not, and sinfulness is waxing. Selfishness, kama, krodha, lobh, they are increasing. So that was his mindset. So we need God himself to come here. So while Krishna was thinking about, contemplating about what is it about Radha that seems to woo her, at that time he was hearing calls from an elderly gentleman by the Ganges saying, "Come, Krishna, come, we need you. Now, maintenant in French, or tout de suite is the other word in French. Of course, you don't speak French there in Trinidad, but maybe a few stragglers do. Maintenant, now, immediately, I need you." And they would wait. The chariot would go to the Ganga, and the river was flowing, of course, going towards the Indian Ocean. And everything happened by the rivers in those days. Everything, the rivers were like, I don't know if you have Walmarts over there, like the shopping center. Everything happened by the river. The Brahmins did their yajnas. People came, they go for their bath. People also go to bathe there, to do their laundry, and if you had a child that you didn't, what to do with, you put him in a basket and you put him on to follow the whims of the river. And, so that we have stories like that, because, and surely someone will take my baby because I can't handle the baby, like in the story of Kunti, right? And Karna was found, her son was found. So everything happened there, and Advaita-Acharya went to the Ganga, and he worshipped Shalagram Shila and some Ganga Jal water. He offered the water, the Jal, to the form of the Lord as a Shila, right? And so he was very impactful. He was very effective. He was an influential kind of person. So eventually, like Krishna was listening, okay, I'm being called to the earth. And so that's when the Lord appeared as a child. Nehemiah was the name given to him. Vishwambar was his parents' choice. It was Advaita-Acharya's wife, Sita Thakurani, that gave him the name Nehemiah because he was born under a neem tree. Then later he became known as Nehemiah Pandit because he was an amazing scholar. So Advaita-Acharya, he is one of the 5 features of the Absolute. The 5 features of the Lord all participated in Sankirtan. Sankirtan means sharing Krishna consciousness, giving, delivering. It's not about taking. Like sometimes when we follow a spiritual path, we thought, I'm going to get something. I'm going to get heaven. I'm going to get cut off from the modes of material nature. I'm going to get moksha. I'm going to get nirvana. That means a place where I'll be free, like that. So some people make big deals with God. I'm your son. You're my father, right? You're the heavenly father. So therefore, you owe me a few things, or here's my shopping list. So this is definitely a problem. This kind of approach. We have to be in the mood of giving and also the mood of forgiving. Okay, forgive people for what they do that is wrong. You know, we're very quick to point out these people wronged me, they insulted me, they were critical of me. Very quickly we do that, and we don't take note as much of when someone is a little bit nice to me. But it's always what bears heavy on the heart is when people are nasty towards me, when I've been bullied or something like that. So we have some resentment built up inside. So then you feel like you're a entitled person. Everyone owes me this. The government owes me this and that, and my parents owe me all this kind of stuff where I must be taking. But actually, lightheartedness, freedom, joy comes from being in the giving mode. The devotees that I see that are most advanced and the happiest are the ones that are always in the mood of giving. And the devotees that go out and distribute books and the ones that like to go out and do kirtan outside, they are the happiest devotees. That's my opinion. That's what I've seen. More so than sometimes when you do puja, it's very necessary to do an arati, as a pujari. But those that are really happy are the ones that go out and meet and greet people. Yes, that's so important. So Advaita-Acharya was in that particular mode or mold, I can say, along with Chaitanya, Nityananda. And they love to give Krishna out to people. Uh, and that's what I've seen devotees do when I go to Trinidad. We have like Padayatra, and then people go to door with their little prasadam there, and people are so their hearts melt and they give. They really give, especially people in the Hindu tradition. They are giving. They're very let's say generous. I think we could be a little bit more philanthropic than we are. But like the Sikhs are really into that, and the Muslims are really into that, and Punjabis and so on like that. When it comes to giving to Krishna consciousness, it's there, but it could be a little bit better. Mind you, if we manage our temples very well, people will come forward. So Advaita-Acharya, he first saw Nehemiah. Nehemiah would sneak in during Bhagavatam discourses and sort of poke his head out and a little bit like a little like a young child. And Advaita-Acharya took note of him, and he eventually saw Mahaprabhu as the supreme personality of Godhead, and he didn't like it when Nehemiah or Chaitanya would come to him and try to touch his feet or show reverence, and he just didn't like it. And then one time at Advaita-Acharya, knowing that Mahaprabhu was around, he was speaking the Bhagavat philosophy with a little bit of a Mayavad twist, and that got Chaitanya or Nehemiah really upset. And then Advaita-Acharya was in ecstasy. Oh, great, great. The paradigm shift has happened. He would always see me with reverence. And now, he's coming to chastise me. He's coming to give me a licking, and so he was happy about that. Yeah. So, yeah, Advaita, there's a lot in the Chaitanya Bhagavat about Advaita-Acharya. There's a lot in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Prabhupada has so mercifully, translated for us. Beautiful stories about Advaita, who would love to dance. He'd love to chant. He'd like to, deliver the message of the Bhagavat Tattva, the philosophy of the Tattva. And so everything was really auspicious about Advaita-Acharya, and we are honoring him today. They've kept track of his birthday after all these centuries. And why not? Every feature of what we call the Panchatattva, they're all very kind and they're all very merciful. And Advaita-Acarya is no exception to the rule. And so we're remembering him today with a half-day fast. And I'm not sure what preparations he liked so much. I never got to find that out. But he probably was just a traditionalist. Give me some rice, give me some dal, uh, give me quantities, some of them big, some of them small. You know. And that was Advaita-Acharya. He's a hero because he was involved in spreading Krishna consciousness, in the lower, um, let's say in Southeast Asia at least, So a few other things that come to mind. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking, I'm going to, I think it was Advaita or perhaps Nityananda. Chaitanya was wanting to travel to go to Vrindavan. And he was told by his loving devotees, well, you don't need to go there because wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. That is the spiritual world, wherever you are. Yeah. So we're at quarter to the hour. And I think what we could do maybe at this point is well, yeah, you can stretch like I am doing if you want. But I really need to do it. I didn't sleep much last night. Uh, but if you have something that you want to say that resonates with what we were talking about, please do so. Or if you have any questions at all. We just have to appreciate that Advaita-Acharya is part of a tattva of the absolute truth. And that's why we are remembering him to this very day. And, he was calling on the Lord to come. The Lord did show up as Nehemiah, and everyone was very excited when everything was very auspicious when the Lord was born at a lunar eclipse long ago. It was very special. The first time I went to India in 78, it was a lunar eclipse. So I caught a glimpse into what it must have been like, during the time of the Lord's birth. So if we have any questions or comments, please, now is your opportunity, your chance.
Gopinath Prabhu, you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question. Gopinath Prabhu.
Okay, we have a question here.
Yes, Marge. Are you hearing me?
Is this Vishwakarma?
Gopinath.
Gopinath, okay.
Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you, yeah. But you're in the dark, Prabhu. You look like sort of scary. Yeah.
Okay, you're seeing me better?
I see you better, yes.
Okay. So I was just wondering, Advaita-Acharya, he petitioned the Lord to appear by offering Gangajal and Tulsi leaves. So I was wondering, is this only in this era, this time only, or, as the age go by, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, this happens all the time?
That's a good question. I'm not so good at answering that type of a question. Those things deal with time factors. My understanding is the Lord appears from time to time. It's rare. When I say the Lord, Chaitanya, Nityananda, all of his associates, it's rare, but it does come from time to time, and we are just very fortunate that this has happened not so long ago, and that there is a lot of dhyana, like meditation on Chaitanya at this particular point in time. It is through his program, the Bhakti Yoga programs, through the channel of Mahaprabhu and the Gaudiya tradition that we exercise Krishna consciousness. So we're very lucky to become recipients of this great tradition. So that's the best way I can answer it for you. I hope it doesn't disappoint you too much. You know, all these like historical elements, they may be important, but what really is the most important thing is that you adapt to the um, uh, to the mindset or the consciousness that I'm the Lord's servant. That is so important. Okay, we have a question from Panchatattva Devi Dasi. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So it's not so much a question, it's more of a comment.
Yeah.
What sort of struck me when you said just now that we should think more of what we can give in this movement
Yes, that's right.
as opposed to what we can get.
Yes,
So-
yes. You come from a good spot. I know you're a temple leader. You need donations. Yeah, but
I was-
it's more than that. It's more like, you know, you know, it's more like you there's an anticipation that people will participate, come forward and offer their services like that. Especially if someone's received diksha, they should be very much in the spirit to give their time, you know, give their time, some resources, of course, give some of their time to serve the mission, Prabhupada's mission. But I kind of cut you off, but go ahead. Why don't you finish off what you were saying?
So I was also thinking about, on a larger scale, we hear that when we get connected, that we hear that we could never repay the debt to the spiritual master,
That's right.
but we could spend our life, our words, our actions, and so on. We could try to assist in the mission of the
Yes.
spiritual master, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada, and so on. So I just thought, it's an important element in our mission for us
Yes.
to have that kind of consciousness.
Yes.
Not only what we can get, because we get so much. That is the thing. We get so much from this movement. We're
Yes.
always getting, we're always receiving.
Always receiving here.
We're always receiving. We go to the temple, we get from the devotees, sadhu sangha, we're hearing from the Bhagavatam and so on. So we're always receiving. But it's that when you said that, we should also think about how we could
Kind of resonated with you, yeah.
yes.
And when you go to a temple, you should be getting beautiful imagery in the form of the deities. You should be getting some kind of education in the form of, the talk that's going on. Some people call it lecture, and I hate that word. It sounds too formal. These days, it's like you say talk, but you get educated. That's one thing. You get a chance to make friends. You get a chance to do some during the arti, to do a little bit of a workout by dancing, right, and sweating. It's all good. You get so much benefit. Everything's kind of there. It's like a shopping market. Everything is there for you, and it just you come out improved. So with that, we should feel some reciprocation and to give. And what I wanted to say about mission, like when you become a Krishna devotee and you learn so many wonderful things about the different expansions of God and so on and so forth, we should feel grateful, and we should feel that I would like to marry the mission. Just like, you marry a man, you marry a woman, and that's who you marry, right? So, and that's expected of all, most devotees. Few of us are like brahmacharis or sannyasis, but we really should be adapting the spiritual, the consciousness that I'm going to marry the mission. I'm going to say, here comes the bride in the form of the mission, things that need to be done. Yeah, to be very missionary oriented is what we like to do. And that means to be very much in the giving mode. Help people get books in their hands, get them to read. Now it's a little bit hard to get people to read because their attention span is so brief. And a lot of people are not always so much interested in books, but they are still magical compared to what you get on the screen. Yeah. Yeah. So giving, nice prasadam. I believe at your temple you have good prasadam, right? And so, yeah, it's very much a giving movement. We do food for life, so many benevolent things. Yeah. So with that, we should be observing and reciprocate. Wow, look at this mission of Prabhupada is doing so much for people, improving their lives. So let me see how I can help out. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Is there anything else there that anybody has in their mind? Okay. If there isn't, then we can leave it at that, and I'll let you continue on with your wonderful festival. And again, I'm hoping next year I can come and be part of it all. To be, we're living in the world of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease is all around us, pretty much in the form of COVID. They used to call it Corona or something like that, right? And then because it was a liquor that was common, I guess they changed the name, because that people might get the impression that, oh, you're selling disease in bottle form. Anyways, we're going to get through all of this, this disease condition. But one thing that the Pope said, I don't know if you heard this, he said that gossip is more rampant than COVID. That's what he said. Do you believe it? I do.
I could definitely believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so I don't thank you very much for having me on board. Sorry to keep it a little bit on the short side, but that's the way it's just going to work out for me. I've got a few classes today.
So let me just say, Marge, that I appreciate you taking the time. I know how busy you are, and I'm looking forward, and the devotees are looking forward to our anniversary, or the deity installation anniversary, and having you with us. So just we haven't been able to start the advertising yet, but very soon we would be sending out information about the installation anniversary. So just to let the devotees know that Maharaj Bhaktimarg Swami is going to be with us, making presentations and so on the occasion of our
Yes.
deity anniversary. So
Right.
so thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you over that weekend.
Okay.
3-day festival.
Well, that's great. And I imagine your things are pretty hot down there right now.
It is because we're trying to get the renovations, to some, at least to some level.
Oh, renovations. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I was referring a little bit more to the weather. I don't
Oh,
mind
the weather.
sending you. I don't mind sending you some snow, so it'll cool things down.
Yeah, it's really hot right now. It's hot here.
Oh, gee. Hare Krishna.
The dry season is like that.
Oh. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai.